Any advantage you can gain over the enemy is one step closer to winning the war.
And nothing stacks the odds better in your favor than our first strike capability.
That's just what the Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle is all about. On land or at sea, this is one transformer that's more than meets the eye.
This weapon system, we can put lethal steel on target first, every time.
When you need your gun to just keep going no matter what it's been through.
By the way, don't try this at home.
The Heckler & Koch 416 assault rifle is virtually unstoppable. And why let a little steel concertina wire spoil your surprise attack? The amazing Bangalore blade eats this stuff for breakfast.
I love blowing stuff up. I love it.
I'm Richard Macklitz. If 10 years in the Navy SEALs taught me anything, it's that the first strike is the one that counts. First strike is called for, Special Operations Forces are frequently dropped into the hot zone before anyone else. They often act alone, with little chance of backup if anything goes wrong. If you've been crawling through dirt or sand and wading through seawater, can you trust your rifle to keep you alive? When you pull the trigger, will it work or will it blow up in your face? It's a harsh fact of war. If your weapon jams in a firefight, you're dead.
When bullets are flying and people are dying, you need to have a weapon you can count on in the heat of battle. I'd like to introduce you to the H&K 416. This is one special weapon.
Or so they tell me. They say this gun is less likely to jam than any of its predecessors. I've come to Loudoun County, Virginia, to test the 416's unstoppable reputation. The Heckler & Koch 416 is a gas-operated carbine rifle. Available in 4 barrel lengths, they say even the shortest version is deadly accurate. It has bite. And no matter how you abuse it, it won't let you down. But I need to see the proof for myself. Is there really such a thing as a rifle that can be used and abused and then used again? Bruce Davison is a fellow former Navy SEAL who worked on refining the 416's design.
So, Bruce, this is it right here, the H&K 416. What's new? What's different about this thing?
Well, basically, it looks familiar to everyone. However, what we've done when we designed this weapon was to go through and try to take what the current platform was and make it the most reliable thing that we could give to the soldier.
From the outside, it looks a lot like the standard M4 assault rifle, but Heckler & Koch cleverly redesigned the internal mechanism, and then they pushed it to the limit.
I've seen it go through our desert testing where we fired excess of 24,000 rounds for a couple of years in a row during development. I've seen it buried in the sand, I've seen it buried in the mud, I've seen it shot out of the water, and I know it works.
Big claims. Let's see if this gun can really live up to the hype. First, we're gonna bury it in a rifle's worst enemy, sand. Even a small amount of grit, sand, or dust can jam the works of a regular gun. In extreme cases, the next time you pull the trigger, it could explode in your face.
Now, there's no soldier in the world that would want to do that to their weapon. But sometimes things happen, and you need to know, no matter what, that weapon is going to work. By the way, don't try this at home. Now that's impressive. When I buried that, there was definitely sand in the barrel. A simple shake, and boom, I was right downrange firing rounds. I would never have tried that ever with any weapon while I served in SEAL Team.
And here's something that's going to cause serious problems on a typical coastal advance into enemy territory. It's water. It won't usually make a gun jam, but shooting a standard assault rifle filled with water means the gun, or at least the barrel, will almost certainly blow up. Not recommended.
So we've now placed the weapon in. Water is actually filling all these little holes.
It seeps into every single orifice of the weapon, and it takes up space. And the weapon needs that space in order to be able to operate,
right.
Especially something like a gas tube. If you get water in a gas tube, you're going to end up with a catastrophic failure of the weapon,
Absolutely.
Which could mean destruction of the weapon, injury to personnel, or even death.
Absolutely. All right, let's see this go. safe, ready to go. I'll tell you what, you come off the beach, you want to know that your weapon's going to work. But I'll tell you, having a weapon that's smart, that's designed to perform under extreme stress and pressure, and knowing you can count on it, you can rely on it, makes all the difference in the heat of battle. This is that weapon.
Nothing seems to faze this gun. Say you are parachuting into action. You need to defend yourself, no problem. This gun can shoot from any angle without jamming. You can even use it upside down as you rappel in.
So Wayne, what are we going to see here?
What I'm going to show here is basically just the reliability of the system, the consistency and the ejection pattern of the gun, regardless of the position. I'm going to shoot 100 rounds nonstop with a gun and being rotated 360 degrees.
Which is good news for anyone on a special ops team. There's no telling what the mission might call for, and when you're about to drop into hostile territory, you've got enough to think about without worrying about whether your weapon is going to let you down.
That's awesome.
Special operation units prefer smaller assault rifles. They're compact, but still offer automatic and semi-automatic rates of fire. The 416's rate of fire is about 650 rounds a minute. Pretty standard for an assault rifle. But even shooting flat out, the 416's bolt stays completely cool because the hot, dirty gases from the exploding rounds are channeled away from the critical internal components. One more reason why this weapon is less likely to jam.
You can see how hot the barrel is.
Absolutely.
You felt how hot the barrel
Right.
is. Would you have done that with your traditional gun? Just hold it. Hold it.
Oh, wow, look at that.
It's cold.
It's absolutely cold. Now, normally, with any of the other weapons I would have fired, this would be so hot you wouldn't even want to touch it. This is why it's so durable, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because there's no heat transfer to the bolt. You don't get that heat erosion and heat catastrophe on any of the bolt parts.
And that's what keeps it from jamming.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'm impressed. But what else can it do? It can fire in semi or automatic modes, of course. And there's a host of other accessories like laser aiming designators and specialist optic sights. But what else can it do?
Not only does a combat weapon have to be extremely durable, it has to be flexible. 40mm grenade launcher.
In the old days, you had to take your grenade launcher to the unit armor and have him install it because it had to be safety wired and properly installed and all this. With this one, there's one pin here, retract, and it's captive, and then it slides off the weapon.
That's fantastic.
And the operator can change out an upper to another length barrel upper and just make a sniper rifle into an entry gun, into a grenade launcher mounted gun. I mean, it's just great.
It's leaps and bounds above all of its predecessors. It really incorporates features in this particular design of gun that we've never seen before.
It's made to do room entries. It's made to be a marksman's rifle. It can do it all.
So it's incredibly flexible, incredibly durable. You can kit it up any way you want. It's the weapon of the future.
Yeah.
Coming up, from ship to shore in the blink of an eye. Despite super thick armor, the amphibious expeditionary fighting vehicle is at least 4 times faster on water than its predecessor. After that, I check out the Enlos launch system, a go-anywhere remote-controlled mini artillery platform, perfect for a first strike. To carry out a successful first strike, you need to get your troops where they have to be in a hurry. A combat personnel carrier needs to be heavily armored and equipped with enough firepower to defend its payload or launch an attack if necessary. That's just not enough for really tough customers like the Marines. They demand all of that, then they want more. What they need is a transformer. A typical Marine operation goes from sea to land and back again, and that means a heavily armored, fully weaponized land vehicle that turns into a top-speed seagoing vessel without stopping.
They call it the Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle.
The Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle, or EFV, is going through its final tests, so it won't see action until 2011. But right now, I'm able to give you a sneak preview of what this amphibious miracle can really do. The EFV's new training and maintenance headquarters is based at Camp Pendleton just outside of San Diego, where I get to also see its predecessor.
This is the Marine Amphibious Assault Vehicle, or AAV, and it's seen its fair share of war. But it's based on technology from the 1960s and has limitations on today's modern battlefield.
one of its limitations is that it simply can't travel long distances at sea. The AAV has to be launched from the mothership as little as 3 miles from the coast and signals to the enemy that you're coming. Another serious drawback is that it's just too slow. With a top sea speed of around just 7 knots, the old AAV leaves itself even more vulnerable to attack. Program Manager Colonel John Bryant is the man in charge of the EFV's development.
AAV has been a workhorse for the Marine Corps, but we have the ability now to field something much more capable, to field a much more powerful weapon system, to provide a much more capable vehicle, and to provide something that the infantry Marine deserves to ride into combat.
The Marines' latest tactical approach is to launch coastal attacks from much further out to sea. This strategy is called over-the-horizon or forcible entry attack, but for that, you need an amphibious vehicle that's up to the job.
Marine Corps needs the EFV because it brings a quantum leap in our forcible entry capability. With the EFV, we can place those amphibious ships 25 nautical miles out at sea. They're over the horizon, they're safe, we can make a high-speed run, we can attack almost anywhere within a huge range, and the enemy has no idea where we're going to come.
The Marine Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle is an evolutionary jump in amphibious warfare, with an impressive list of new operational capabilities like increased lethality, increased survivability, and increased horsepower. The EFV brings a whole new meaning to the words deadly assault.
But the most significant feature of the EFV's design is its sheer speed on water. It easily travels at 29 knots in the sea, 4 times faster than the old AAV. For an amphibious assault vehicle, that's not only record-breaking, it's also vital in a first strike.
It's key to make sure the enemy cannot predict where we're going to go. We want to hit him where he doesn't expect us.
With much thicker armor than its predecessor, the fully loaded EFV is almost 10 tons heavier than the AAV. So how do you keep a massive 76,000 pounds of combat vehicle afloat and on the move? The answer? A state-of-the-art engine with tons of turbo power.
The turbo capability is what creates the horsepower. It's what spins this engine up to go from 851 horsepower in land mode to the 2,703 horsepower we need in water mode to get that 76,000 pounds up on plane.
The EFV achieves these speeds not by cutting through the waves, but by gliding over them like a jet ski. But this is more than just a high-speed vehicle. The built-in computer system means the whole vehicle can be controlled from a single crew member's position.
One of the coolest updates the Marine Corps has put into the EFV is this thing called the CDP, or Common Display Panel. It is basically the computer brain of this whole vehicle, and the driver can pretty much control everything they need to control from this panel.
There's also a sophisticated GPS system providing precise location and target information.
It allows us, the crew, to see where the vehicle's located at during, especially 25 nautical miles out. We can track our route to hit our beach objective.
Oh, you guys are so lucky, man. When I was back in my day, we'd jump out of an airplane in a little rubber boat, and we'd have to figure out with compass where the heck we were trying to get our way. Now you have GPS capability. You know exactly where you are over the horizon. You're able to bring that vehicle right up on the shore.
And once this amphibious tracked vehicle, or Amtrak, gets to shore, it just keeps on moving. And I'm about to take it for a test drive.
Nobody knows how to enjoy the beach more than the United States Marine Corps.
On land, the EFV can reach speeds of up to 45 miles an hour with all-terrain mobility. So it can easily keep up with a battle tank's cruising speed. And even after its 25-mile sea run, it can keep going on land for another 200 miles without refueling. So why take 2 vehicles into battle when the EFV does the work of both? Next, this massive 38-ton monster lets it rip at sea, delivering a payload of 17 Marines ready, willing, and able to strike first. And later, I use a brand new explosive device to slice through high-tensile steel and much, much more. The Expeditionary Fighting Vehicle, or EFV, is 2 amazing transports in one. A powerful weapons platform and a heavily armored personnel carrier that transforms from sea vessel to land vehicle while on the move. That's a major first strike advantage. Making the transformation from a steel-tracked land vehicle to a high-speed sea craft is an incredible engineering achievement. But when you think that the EFV does it without even stopping, it's more like a miracle. I asked Sergeant Frederick to talk me through how this is possible.
I'm going to be able to show you how it reconfigures into water mode. It's got a bow plane on the front that's going to extend. The track is going to start sucking up into the hull. It's going to push out back. And get these chine flaps right here. These are going to fold underneath the vehicle and make it a complete smooth flat bottom.
Oh, fantastic.
Now we've got a full flat bottom boat.
Wow. Incredible. A real-life transformer.
A real-life transformer.
Let's see it.
Time to hit the waves. Surf's up. As soon as the EFV leaves the shore, it begins its transformation. The tracks come up, the transit flap comes out, and within seconds, it goes from tank to boat. Once that turbo power kicks in, nearly 3,000 horsepower pushes all that 38 tons of EFV onto the water's surface. Even in rough seas, this mighty metal amphibian will still maintain its top speed. 2 propulsion jets pump out almost 250,000 gallons of water every minute to power it over the ocean. At that rate, it could fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool in less than 3 minutes. And all that sheer propulsion power means that on the water, the poor old amphibious assault vehicle is simply no match for its replacement. It just doesn't stand a chance. It's precisely this massive increase in sea speed and range that allows that all-important over-the-horizon forced entry attack. The next challenge is the transition from sea to land. Getting smoothly out of the water at the coastline has always been a difficult and dangerous task for an amphibious craft, but not for the EFV. It simply transfers all that power from the high-speed water jets to the vehicle's tracks. And once it gets on land, the EFV can safely deliver its lethal payload, an entire combat marine squad, fully loaded and ready for action. But make no mistake, the EFV's job is far from over. It's just as much a part of the action as the infantry squad it's designed to carry.
The EFV can bring 17 hard-charging Marines into the battle, but it is no taxi. It's ready to fight, and so is its 30mm cannon.
Guided by a high-precision day or night fire control, the EFV's Mark 46 weapon system is based around an automatic cannon that can pump out 230mm rounds a minute. Unless you have some serious military hardware on your side, you really don't want to mess with this.
This can destroy any threat vehicle short of a main battle tank. We can reach out to a target in excess of 2,000 meters away. We can hit with the first burst. We can hit day or night. We can hit in fog. We can hit in the rain. We can hit the enemy with the first burst before he even knows we're there.
As if that wasn't enough, the EFV also includes a 7.62mm machine gun.
When vehicles square off, it's all about who puts steel on target first. With this weapon system, we can put lethal steel on target first, every time.
This truly amazing vehicle gives the Marines the power, speed, and flexibility they need to launch a first strike before the enemy even knows they're coming.
The intimidating EFV, 38 tons of killer craft, surfing the seas and hitting the beach, ready for war.
Still to come. The Bangalore blade cuts through enemy perimeter defenses, but it can do a whole lot more.
Fire in the hole!
Believe it or not, this is one of the simplest and most effective ways to stop or slow down soldiers advancing over land. It's steel concertina wire. This stuff is really nasty. Mess with it and hundreds of metal teeth will cut you to ribbons. And because it's made of high tensile reinforced steel, you can't even blast it out of the way.
Sure, you could use bolt cutters, but you gotta remember where they place this. Direct line of observation, direct line of fire.
Every second spent trying to cut through this stuff is a second longer in the enemy's field of view. And if they spot you, you've just lost the element of surprise. And most likely, your life. As long ago as the First World War, when advancing infantry came up against barbed wire, they used a device called the Bangalore torpedo to blast their way through. But blast alone is useless against concertina wire.
The Bangalore torpedo fundamentally hasn't changed in 90 years. It's a big steel tube packed with explosives. Great for taking out barbed wire. Great for blowing things apart. But against concertina wire, to take this stuff out, you need something with an edge.
Which is exactly what one British company has come up with. They re-examined the original Bangalore torpedo design to see if they could update it for the needs of the 21st century soldier. What they came up with is the Bangalore Blade. It's never actually been tested yet, and for its very first trial run, I've been invited to the Army National Guard training site at Camp Dawson in West Virginia. A successful demo today would mean the Bangalore Blade could soon be used in action, so everything is riding on today's result for Roland Alford, the man behind the redesign of this weapon.
So what we've done is we've designed it so that you've effectively got 4 shaped charges which fly off. And each one of those is like a blade or a sword that just chops straight through this in all directions. So first of all, you've cut it, and then the blast effect of the explosive itself will then blow it out of the way. So it's a two-stage approach. It's cut it and then blast it out of the way.
Step 1 is to pack the tube with plastic explosive. The old version had a steel body, but aluminum makes it lighter and easier to carry. Perfect for special operations.
How long do you think it would normally take to load the stuff up for an improvised explosive?
Probably 5 minutes or less. I mean, depends how much of a hurry you're in.
But the real design breakthrough is that unlike the old Bangalore torpedo version, it doesn't rely on blast alone to clear the wire. Instead, this one produces cutting blades which shred the wire into pieces.
When that goes off, what it does to these sides is it starts forming these into mini projectiles, and each one of these will come out as a blade, and it's being blown this way.
So essentially you've got a shaped charge going this way, going down, out to the sides.
Exactly.
So you're cutting in 4 directions.
Absolutely.
Next, you fit the detonator, which only takes a few seconds.
You put the detonator in there, and you close it, and you take the leads, and you wrap them around there.
That's perfect for electronic detonation.
Exactly.
All right.
Then, all you have to do is place the blade where you want it. Picture yourself under cover of night in enemy territory, and then imagine how much longer it would take to cut your way through with wire cutters. No contest. Chris Butler spent 6 years with Special Operations Forces. Now, as an anti-terrorism specialist, he's been invited to assess the Bangalore Blade's effectiveness.
Come from a special operations background, smaller is better, lighter is better. You don't want to be humping this stuff across the desert for days on end. And with this, each man can help share in the load, and you still bring enough explosives, and you still bring enough firepower to the mission to get the job done.
Okay, it's time to put the Bangalore Blade through its first ever test.
Exactly, the moment of truth. First time in history.
For this much explosives, the recommended safe distance is about 50 meters.
All right, what are we looking at?
But with an untried prototype, we're not taking any chances. The best part is, they're letting me press the button.
Range is hot. Guys ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire in the hole.
I love it when things go boom. But remember, blast alone won't make a dent on this high tensile reinforced steel. Coming up, I get to find out what kind of damage the Bangalore Blade inflicted on this concertina wire.
Is this what you wanted?
This is better than I thought.
But we don't stop there. I want to see what else it can do. We've just carried out the first ever field test of the Bangalore Blade against its arch enemy, steel concertina wire.
Fire in the hole. Now we get to see just how much of that concertina wire we've moved out of the way. You're not kidding, you could actually drive a car right through there.
I would say mission accomplished.
You can definitely see it did its job, didn't it? Look at this thing. It's shredded. I take one step over, it's free and clear. Nothing's around.
One small step from there.
The trench would have cleared out any anti-personnel mines if they were embedded underneath the wire.
Yep.
But the big thing to me is just look how much of this area was cleared out.
So, you've cleared a huge gap in the wire and taken care of any landmines the enemy might have put there for good measure.
Is this what you wanted?
This is better than I thought. I didn't expect it to clear out quite so wide.
And if you're thinking to yourself, hold on a minute, what about the element of surprise? Remember, you get to choose the moment to launch a full-strength attack.
Obviously, if you're on the receiving end of this, if you're on the inside wall, that smoking through there as fast as it did, as loud as it does, and it's going to be nothing but dust and dirt kicked up at them, they're not going to know what to do. They won't be able to react. We, however, know that it's coming, and we're going to count on them being, overawed, shocked into absolutely no action when we come through that Constantine wire.
This is actually where it came through, too, right?
So, the Bangalore blade is highly effective against concertina wire. But in the hands of a special operations soldier, this device could be put to hundreds of uses.
What else might you want to do with it? You might want to stick it under a plane and chop through it, chop a wing off or something, and basically for sabotage, it's an ideal tool. Simple, you don't have to aim it or anything, just stick it under, bang, it's gone. So a lot of different times that you might use them.
This could be used against a whole range of military threats and situations. It could clear out a room of terrorists permanently, stop insurgent vehicles in their track, or cut power and communication lines. Basically, anywhere a soldier needs to lay down an explosive charge, the Bangalore blade could do the job.
All right, so we're doing a little experiment action here?
To prove the point, we're going to try the Bangalore blade on this old van.
What kind of effect are we looking for?
Well, what we're really looking for is evidence that we're producing a blade. So we're looking for a nice clean cut through there. And on the inside, we've got a witness there. We want to see what happens on the other side. So not only are we cutting a hole through here, we're interested in what happens on the other side. Can we do something inside this vehicle?
Looks neat, looks happy. Let's get it done.
Right, let's go blow up this van.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire in the hole!
Nice, very nice.
I love blowing stuff up. I love it. Look at that.
The blast produces blade-like slivers that travel at speeds in excess of 5,000 miles an hour and can slice through a sheet of solid steel.
Look at that. Look at that fragmentation, though, huh?
Broken up.
Some fragmentation right here. Good straight line of fragmentation, by the way. Look at that. Real clean.
The blade cuts through the vehicle, then the blast takes care of the rest. If this van contained insurgents, well, the results speak for themselves.
This has been
Oh, yeah, this is all completely blown in. Look at that cut.
That's the cut. And this is the corner pieces.
Check this out. Real clean cut right there. All the way through. This is all that panel from that side of the van.
So that's where it
blown
actually,
through in
the
here.
blade hit it and came straight through there. And these are all the bits that came up from the corners.
Got it. But when you think of this, too, listen, it cut through first, then blew it apart.
Yeah.
Which is what you're looking for when you're talking about taking out the Constantino wire, isn't it?
Exactly.
You want to cut through it and blow it apart.
Absolutely.
It's great. Look at this right here. Look at it. If you think about that explosive charge going off, it didn't just go everywhere. It's very clean right through here. Definitely delivers quite a punch.
Point proven. This test is a complete success. This inexpensive, portable device is a powerful tool in any special operator's kit. Making the first strike just got a whole lot easier. Next, when you absolutely positively have to make that first strike, the Enlos launch system is a portable box of rockets powerful enough to pack a deadly punch. Conflicts in today's world are volatile, unpredictable, and can erupt overnight.
If a crisis breaks out on the other side of the world, responding rapidly with the appropriate amount of force is the military's job.
Nation-states can become aggressive with very little or no warning. Hostilities can flare up suddenly after decades of uneasy peace. You have to be able to react fast.
And when you're dealing with an enemy that's well prepared and deeply entrenched, you're gonna need firepower.
Heavy artillery like tanks, howitzers, and missile launchers are a must. They're the hardware behind any serious attack. But getting them to the battlefield quickly has always been a problem.
Traditionally, that kind of firepower is very heavy. And the heavier something is, the slower it tends to move.
Ships can carry the weight, but they are slow, taking weeks instead of days. The biggest cargo aircraft in the NATO inventory is the mighty C-5 Galaxy. It can only hold one 70-ton Abrams tank at a time. For a serious first strike, what's needed is a weapon system that's lightweight and easy to transport, but can hit like a sledgehammer. Fort Sill, Oklahoma is the home of the U.S. Army's Advanced Artillery System. I've heard they've developed an innovative answer for that desired capability. The future has arrived. Now, the exterior doesn't give much away, but this simple box is actually a highly portable, remote-controlled, frontline artillery weapon called the NLOS LS, Non-Line of Sight Launch System.
Non-line of sight, or NLOS. It basically means you don't have to see it to hit it.
It may look about as threatening as a portable toilet, but in this case, appearances are dangerously deceiving.
This simple, harmless-looking box can fire 15 missiles at 15 different targets at 15 different times.
Great strategic mobility can get to where we need it with awesome firepower very quickly.
Colonel Gary Kinney is in charge of the Army's program to develop the new NLOS LS for deployment.
For the first time, Mac, it provides the soldier and the commander in the field a very responsive, all-weather, long-range precision fire capability against moving and stationary armored and non-armored high-value targets.
And yet the whole package weighs little more than 1.5 tons. Plus, the straight-edge design means it can easily be packed into a helicopter, a boat, in fact, just about anything bigger than a pickup truck. Amazingly, once it's in position, the NLOS will sit patiently, waiting for further instructions.
With the radio on board, you can leave this unattended, and it will tell you the health of the missiles, how much battery life I still have, so you have a good reading at specific intervals you want, how well your system is, without having to go out there with a person and check it.
And the simple box shape means this formidable weapon system can be placed just about anywhere.
The platform can be placed on the ground, or it can be fired off a truck or the deck of a ship, so a lot more strategically mobile than something like a large multiple launch rocket system of tracked vehicle that's very heavy, a little bit slower to deploy.
When it's time to launch an attack, the mission information is transmitted from a mobile command and control cell. The man with his finger on the button is Sergeant Mark Colley.
NLOS LS allows you to completely do your mission within here before you send it to the weapon, so you know where it's going, how it's going, and you can actually direct it to different waypoints in flight.
You got a fire mission that just came in.
But in the field, the missiles can be launched using a simple PDA.
Fire mission Q, the target will be here. Hit execute, and you got 20 seconds to get out.
It's time to reveal what's actually inside the box. The weapon of choice for this system is the Precision Attack Missile, or PAM. These are lightweight warheads armed with just 12 pounds of explosives, but don't underestimate their power.
You don't have to have a 500-pound warhead to be effective against a desired target if you can deliver that payload with precision and accuracy.
PAMs can cover a distance of 24 miles in just 6 minutes. But the real surprise is that these missiles can actually home in on moving targets, a huge advantage over regular artillery.
The concept of hitting a moving target has been very difficult for a ground application because of all the terrain, trees, difference in heat signatures from the Earth itself. Thus, once we were able to put a radio in this missile, we've been able to provide that additional information so that the missile is at the right time, right location, so when it turns on its seeker, the target's there.
During its flight, the missiles communicate directly with the soldier in the field, continuously updating its information so that it can seek out and strike targets with incredible accuracy.
While that missile is in flight, that soldier or that observer can talk to the missile, tell the missile what direction and at what speed the target is moving, so the missile can correct itself in flight and hit that target precisely.
Think of that. Launching a missile and telling it while it's flying out, your target has changed course, or I don't want you to hit that target anymore, and be able to communicate with that.
But PAMs are even smarter than that. They can also find their target autonomously, following either GPS information or a laser designator spot. They can even identify their target visually using an onboard picture library.
It knows, for instance, I want to attack a T-72 tank, and it will fly out to the location where that target's supposed to be, and it will identify, oh, that's a T-72 tank that goes after it.
So it's not just a missile, it's a smart missile.
It's absolutely a smart missile and a precise missile.
Whatever option it uses, the result is always the same. The target is history. And of course, you've still got another 14 missiles to go before you need a refill. But even then, it's a simple job to replace an empty canister with a full one. All of which makes the NLOS LS a quantum leap in frontline artillery.
It's easy to use, easy to transport, low maintenance, no moving parts. So, I mean, it's going to be a great system. I have my utmost confidence in this.
The NLOS LS packs precision, mobility, and lethality into one launch unit. This is one box your adversary doesn't want opened.
Just a phenomenal capability, something that we have not been able to do for years and years.
One shot, one kill.
One shot, one kill. That's our objective.